you very much, everybody. I'm Mark Shelton. Everybody doing all right today? Yeah! All right. I'm going to wait for just a second here. Let my sound engineer friend make sure my headset is up. Is that on? Yeah, it's on. Okay. Bring that up, maybe just a little. There we go. Good. All right. I'm Mark Shelton. Great to be here today at the Cultural Activity Center. So you guys are from Troy, right? All right. Good deal. I am here, the great folks with the Cultural Activity Center, also the Texas Commission on the Arts, wanted me to come out here today and play and tell you about percussion. Percussion. Oh yeah, percussion. Everybody here is going to listen to some music today, whether it's on the radio or TV or a CD or on your iPod. You're probably going to listen to some music today that has percussion. Yeah, it's all around us. And whether you listen to rock, jazz, country, gospel, hip-hop, rap, classical, you're probably going to hear some percussion instruments being played. And I've probably got something on the stage today that you'll hear later on when you're playing music today. Percussion instruments make their sounds three ways, by striking, scraping, shaking. Striking, scraping, shaking. Now right over here I've got an instrument that I strike to make the sound. And here's some shaking. And some scraping. Oh yeah. Striking, scraping, and shaking. We can go ahead and bring this down now a little bit. I tell you, with all of the instruments I have up here, it's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with, a lot of technical things today to make them sound good. I've got a whole bunch of instruments to share with you today, whole bunch of instruments, and I played just a moment ago on the opening of the show this instrument. Now a lot of times throughout the thousands of years, folks have just found things around them to turn into percussion. And this is a good example right here. This is an instrument, the cajon. That's spelled C-A-J-O-N. The cajon, and in Spanish, that means box or drawer. Yeah, check it out, the cajon. And the cajon, the folks would take that in South America, they would take a fish box and they'd turn it up on its end and strike it. Or they take a drawer out of a chest of drawers, strike that. Pretty much that's it with the cajon. It's a box, got a hole cut in the back. The corners are loosened a little bit. But I've got another instrument over here. It's a great example of that finding things around you to turn into percussion. This instrument over here, the bones. Oh yeah, the bones. And the bones got started with folks actually using animal rib bones or shin bones for an instrument. Yeah, but the bones I have with me today are made out of wood, but they're shaped a lot like an animal rib bone. And you hear the bones quite a bit in the traditional music of Ireland, and also here in America, traditional music here uses the bones. Little bones for you. Thanks a bunch, you guys. Thanks. The hammered dulcimer. The hammered dulcimer. Let me get the dulcimer up here so everyone can see it. Oh yeah, the hammered dulcimer, percussion instrument, makes a sound by striking, and it's also sort of a brother, sister, cousin to another percussion instrument that maybe some of y'all play. Probably a lot of people, or some people here that play the piano, take piano lessons, but probably most people here today have looked inside a piano to see how it works. If you look inside a piano, you're going to find a whole bunch of strings inside the piano. Strings on the piano, strings on the hammered dulcimer. Also, if you look inside the piano, you're going to find this row of things that strike the strings. Hammers, hammers for the piano, hammers for the hammered dulcimer. The hammered dulcimer and the piano make their sounds the same way. A hammer striking a string. The big difference is with the piano, you have to press down on that key on the outside to get the hammer inside to move. With the hammered dulcimer, I'm holding the hammer between my fingers, and because I'm holding the hammer between my fingers, there's a sound that I can make on the hammered dulcimer that you really can't make on the piano just by pressing down on the key. It's this bouncing sound. Listen. But besides the piano, the hammered dulcimer has some other brothers, sisters, cousins out there in the world. Some instruments that actually look a lot more like the hammered dulcimer than the piano does. For example, over in China, they've got an instrument a lot like this called the yangqin. Over in Germany, folks over there play the hochbrett. And if you were to go over to the Middle Eastern part of the world, places like Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, you'd hear folks over there playing the santur. But here in America, usually we call this the hammered dulcimer. It's also been called the lumberjack's piano. I've been playing for you guys this morning a whole bunch of really fast music. I'm going to slow down right now a little bit on the hammered dulcimer. And a while ago, I was playing the dulcimer with this hard side of the hammer. I'm going to flip the hammer over and use this softer side for you a little bit. Thanks. Appreciate that. The hammered dulcimer. So you guys are from Troy. Everybody here today is from Troy. All right. All right. What's the school mascot? All right. The Trojans. Now, true story. I'm not making this up. Whenever I was in junior high, they were building a new high school in my hometown. And so they decided it was going to be the Trojans was going to be the mascot. And so they went ahead and ordered band uniforms, right? And Trojan right here and here. And then they decided to change the name to the Bobcats. And so when I got to high school, I spent the whole or part of my time wearing this uniform, and we were the Bobcats, but there's a Trojan head on the arm of the uniform there. So I have to think about that every time I think of the Trojans there. Hey, a lot of times when people are thinking about percussion, a lot of times they're thinking about drums. Yeah, and I opened the show a little while ago, played the cajon, and went over there and played those drums and some cymbals. Those drums over there are called rototoms. But I brought some other drums with me, and I've got this one. It's a very ancient kind of drum called the doumbec. The doumbec. That's one name for it, the doumbec. Now, the doumbec, check it out. The doumbec I've got with me today, there's not very much to it. Yeah. And you can find the doumbec, one place is over in the Middle East part of the world. You might go into a restaurant or a nightclub in Egypt or Greece, Turkey, that part of the world, and actually hear people playing the doumbec. Like I was saying, there's not much to it. This doumbec only has 2 parts, but I want to make sure everyone here today learns and remembers these 2 very important parts. Just about every drum you're ever going to see is going to have these 2 very important parts, the head and the shell. The head and the shell. On the doumbec, head, shell. Head, shell. This is the head, shell. You got it. And for only having those 2 parts, the head and the shell, the doumbec can make a lot of different sounds. For one thing, the doumbec can almost say its name. Doumbec. A little doumbec music coming your way. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it. The clackamore. Yeah, that's the best 25 bucks I've spent in a while. Yeah, the clackamore. Hey, I've got an instrument with me right now, a percussion instrument. It's only been around for about 6 or 7 years. The hung. Oh yeah, the hung. Check it out. The hung. Now over in Switzerland, where they build the hung, that word is pronounced hung, and it means hand. And most of the time I'm playing the hung, I'm playing it with my hands. Kind of looks like a flying saucer, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, the hung, it's pretty new. Like I said, it's only been around about, 6 or 7 years or so. The hung has 2 sides. I can strike this side, but also, I've got this side over here that I can strike. Can everybody see these dents right here? Yeah? Okay, great. Here in a moment, I'm going to play some music, and I'm going to be striking these dents in here. I'm going to strike this silver spot right here. I'm going to play a piece of music that I composed, a piece of music that I made up. And the name of this piece of music is Luminous Lagoon. And of course, a lagoon, that's a big body of water. And the word luminous, probably a lot of you know, it means lighted or glowing. Yeah, Luminous Lagoon. A few years ago, my family and I took a vacation to Jamaica. One night, we decided to go to the Luminous Lagoon. Get this! If you are ever in Jamaica, you have got to go to the Luminous Lagoon. You get out there about the time the sun's going down. You've got your bathing suit on. You get in a boat, and they take you out on the lagoon. It's getting darker and darker outside. Pretty soon, you look behind the boat, and you can see the water is glowing in the dark. Because living in this lagoon are these super small animals, microbes. But these microbes are really special. You can only find this kind of microbe about 3 or 4 places on the earth. These microbes will glow in the dark, like a firefly, like a lightning bug. Pretty soon, it's really dark outside. The boat comes to a stop. You jump out in the water. You're swishing the water around. The water is lighting up. Your bathing suit's glowing in the dark. You're glowing in the dark. It's pretty freaky. This is Luminous Lagoon. Thanks. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah. The hung. I brought this drum with me. This is the bodhran. B-O-D-H-R-A-N. The bodhran. This drum, this kind of drum, the bodhran, comes to us from Ireland. Yeah. And it's a good example of a frame drum. A frame drum. A frame drum is, a little while ago we were talking about the head and the shell. A frame drum is a single-headed drum, and the measurement across the head is greater than the measurement of the shell. So everyone here has seen a tambourine with a head on it. Probably here in America, that's the best known example of a frame drum. But around the world, there are so many folks out there that use a frame drum. In the Bible, some of the drums that are talked about in the Bible are frame drums, actually. Now, and this one comes to us, like I said, from Ireland. It's a little bit different than some of the drums we play here in America. A lot of times, hang on one second. Give me one, there we go. Got loose of that. Yeah. A little bit different than some of the drums we play here in America. A lot of times we're playing drums with 2 hands, 2 sticks, but with the bodhran, we only use 1 hand and 1 special 2-ended stick called a tipper. Oh, wait a minute, 1 second, what's going on here? This is about to fall. Hang on. You know, this is live music today. This is how it works, see? All right. This is the stick. It's called a tipper. Ho! Thanks, you guys. Man, great audience from Troy today. Man, rock on. All right. This is the marimba. Another percussion instrument, makes it sound by striking. And I'm striking these 2 rows of wooden bars. But something else really important about the marimba, are these mallets. Mallets. Yeah, I can change the sound of the marimba by changing mallets. And I can really change the sound a lot because I've got a lot of different mallets with me. Yeah. But there's another reason for me to have a lot of mallets with me. You see, I can play the marimba, like you just saw me a moment ago, with 2 mallets. But also 3 mallets. 4 mallets. 5 mallets. 6 mallets. That's all. Actually, I can play with more mallets, but the more mallets that I put between my fingers, the harder and harder it becomes for me to move the mallets around very much while I'm playing. My hands get kind of crowded. So a good number to use, if I use just 2 in one hand, that way I can move them around really easily while I'm playing. Hey, I'll do some of that stuff for you. I said that I can play with 4 mallets, and I said I can change the sound of the marimba by changing mallets. So I'm going to change to some different mallets, and I'm going to use 4 mallets. I'm going to play a piece of music, and I usually play this piece of music for older students like you guys, and so I'm going to play it for you guys today. And the name of this piece of music is Atrium Dance. Atrium Dance. A while back, I bought a house. I'd never bought a house. Finally bought a house, and there's this one spot in the house we call the atrium. And it's got ceramic tile on the floor, and the ceiling goes up 2 stories. So the echo is just great out there. We're poor, so we don't have much furniture out there. So it echoes just great. And my daughter, who's just a little bit older than you guys, she plays percussion also. So we love to just roll the marimba out into the atrium and play. So I wrote this piece of music. This is Atrium Dance. 1 second. Here. I better move this a little closer so everybody can hear. The snare drum. Oh yeah, the snare drum. This is the last percussion instrument we'll talk about today, but a very important drum here in America. Just about every day you're hearing the snare drum. Yeah, if you listen to the radio, rock, jazz, country, gospel, you're going to hear the snare drum being played because we use the snare drum a lot with the drum set. But also if you go to a football game, a parade, you hear a marching band, you're going to hear the snare drum being played. Very important drum here in America. And a little while ago, we were talking about the doumbec and how the doumbec has those two very important parts, the head and the shell. Check it out on the snare drum. Right there. Head, shell, but look at this. The snare drum has another head stretched across the bottom, and these things, snares, so that when I strike, the top head causes the air inside the shell to move around, causes that bottom head to move a little bit, vibrates, and then those snares touching against the bottom, they move a little bit, they vibrate. Yeah. Around here, though, I've got a switch. When I push this switch down, the snares are released so they're not touching the bottom head. Changes the sound. Listen. Two really different sounds on the snare drum. Also, I can strike the rim, both the head and the rim at the same time. Lots of different sounds on the snare drum. I'm going to close things out with some snare drum music. But before I play this snare drum music, we've been talking today about percussion and how percussion instruments make their sounds three ways: by striking, scraping, shaking. Yeah, and in the short amount of time we've had together today, I have played just a few of the dozens and dozens of percussion instruments out there in the world. Played the marimba just a moment ago. Of course, you can't forget about the hung right here. There is the doumbec, that instrument you might find over in the Middle Eastern part of the world. From Ireland, a good example of a frame drum, the bodhran. And right there, the hammered dulcimer. Open things up with the cajon and some rototoms and cymbals there. A lot of percussion instruments out there in the world. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out from Troy today, the Trojans, coming out from Troy today to hear me. And a big hand of thanks to a great bunch of folks who brought you this show today. The Texas Commission on the Arts and the great folks right here at the Marshall Cultural Activities Center. A big hand for all those folks. And by the way, just in case any teachers are interested, I've got my CD for you if you're interested in purchasing one. Or anyone can go to my website at marksheltonmusic.com, find out more about me. Right now, though, here we go, a little snare drum music. Look out. Huh.
Shelton, thank you guys for coming today.